Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic. I hope you had a very, very, very happy and Merry Christmas with your family and your loved ones, and that Santa brought you everything that you wanted. And there was many people around the world that didn't have such a joyous Christmas as we know in the US and Canada with this terrible freak storm that's come through, and it's taken so many lives. Look, I can't begin to imagine the worry, the concern, the disappointment, the devastation that this is bringing to many, many families, and there's many people that have lost their lives. I mean, we can't help but send our love and our thoughts and our prayers, and in any way that, you know, we as a world can unite, help these people through this situation, I think is our responsibility to do so. I mean, I know it is Christmas and I know we're all supposed to be happy and singing and dancing and enjoying ourselves, but we can't forget those people that have experienced this terrible storm, and for many of them, the worst of it's not over yet. You know, over the coming days and the coming weeks, they're going to find probably more and more tragedy and more people, you know, locked up in cars and things like that. And plus, you know, the power and things like that, essential services have not been restored to all areas yet. So please spare a thought for those people that are less fortunate than us as we still celebrate the holiday season. And it is a time of great joy and great excitement. And, you know, for many people, it was just spending the holidays with your family and loved ones that you haven't had that opportunity to do for a couple of Christmases now, you know, with COVID being so rampant that we all had different types of Christmases, many virtual Christmases, and this year it was actually in person, and that was really nice. So let's move on to the Simply Tarot card of the week, and I'm really pleased to say it's a very bright, positive, happy card this week. It's the Sun card. Now, the Sun to me is the card of marriage. When I talk about marriage, I'm talking about legalised piece of paper, church wedding, garden wedding, something that says that, you know, you've got that official piece of paper that says you're Mr. and Mrs. The secondary meaning of this card, which is probably what's going to apply to most of us, is happiness, bright prospects. So it's a time of great joy. It's a time when I think we have the right to be a little bit positive, a little bit excited, getting excited at what the new year can bring, the things that we're going to bring into our lives. And also, I think, reflecting back on what we've been able to achieve this year, whether it's been an individual achievement, whether it's been a family achievement, whether it's been a nation achievement, or whether it's just been a world achievement that we've all managed to come together and try and put COVID in the rear vision mirror as much as we possibly can and try and reestablish our lives back in some sort of normality. So, you know, there's many reasons to be thankful. There's many reasons to say that there's a lot of brightness and happiness around, and that we should be looking forward to a bright and happy 2023. So let's move on to the Sagittarian section of the show. That's me being a Sag. Now, let's move on to the astrology section of the show. And, of course, I'm a little bit disappointed that the Sagittarian time of the year has passed and now we're into the Capricorn time. Not that I'm being offensive to Capricorns. We need the Capricorn energy after the fun and frivolity and the lead up and the build up and the excitement and too many parties leading up to Christmas and all getting a little bit exaggerated in the things that we were doing, far too much, you know, frivolity and drinking and eating and having a good time. I think we now need to sort of rein that in a little bit and sort of say, okay, now we've got to sort of take it back a notch or two. Let's start to get a little bit serious about what we want to start bringing in for the new year and sort of the things that we need to change in our lives or the things that we need to stabilise. So we do have the Sun in Capricorn at the moment. It's the Capricorn time of the year. And this is a time of the year where a lot of people do their best thinking. It's where they start to sort of set down some plans, organise their lives, start to organise their finances, and not just because they've spent too much in the months previously leading up to Christmas, but looking at putting down some foundations financially for what they hope to achieve for the next 12 months. So it is a time of that. And it's also a time of when we start to look at, okay, what medical appointments we might need to schedule, things like that. So just getting ourselves more organised. Here in Australia, because it's summertime and everybody's at the beach and out having a good time, we tend to sort of be a little bit more lackadaisy when it comes to things like that. It's almost like that the whole world shuts down in Australia till about the 10th of January because we all seem to be in party mode, beach mode, having a good time. Nobody wants to go to work. Everybody wants to sort of be a little bit sort of lazy, put a movie on, go to the beach, have a, you know, another slapdash sort of meal. Not that I'm saying they're unhealthy meals, but it's sort of like not a time where we're planning to cook and all those sort of things. We tend to live on a lot of salads and, you know, cold meat and fresh seafood and things like that. So here in Australia, we're a little bit spoilt because it is that beautiful time of the year. For our friends and colleagues overseas where it's cold, you know, this is the time when you're sort of starting to think about snuggling up by the fire, reading a good book, watching a movie, having some comfort food, having some food that sort of warms you and makes you feel nourished and satisfied. So, you know, it's different in different parts of the world at how we react to this time of the year. So still staying in the Capricorn sort of energy, we've got Venus is holding hands or conjunct in astrology terms, Mercury, and Mercury is holding hands or conjunct Pluto. So this is a very powerful trio or triplicity, as we call it in astrology, of planets being together, all within, you know, 9-10 degrees of each other. These ones are much closer than that. So we've got Venus leading the charge. Venus is the planet of love and affection. Venus shows us in our chart the things that we love to do or the things that make our heart sing. And it's not always about falling in love. It's the things that bring a smile to our face. You know, you can love the type of work that you do. You can love your hobby. You can love going for a walk in nature, going to the park, taking the dog for a walk. There's many different things that we love or enjoy doing in our day-to-day lives. Just because it's in Capricorn at the moment, it's just asking us to look at the things that are really important to us that are on a practical level. Things that can sort of enhance our lives, can improve our lives. So we've got Venus conjunct or holding hands Mercury. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication. Mercury can be sometimes a little bit tricky. Sometimes Mercury likes to play practical jokes and be the trickster. But more importantly, Mercury is about understanding our all different forms of communication. Communication is not just what comes out of our mouths. It's text messages, it's emails, it's things like that. You know, for some people it's a song. It's you know, that some people find it difficult to express themselves, but they say, hey, listen to this song. This will tell you how I feel and what I can't say. So there's many forms of expression. But when we have Mercury in Capricorn, as it is at the moment, you'll find that it's almost like the school teacher with the red pen saying, no, you got that wrong. Mercury in Capricorn is very pedantic. It likes everything to be precise. It likes everything to be accurate. So at the moment, if you're going to have a conversation that involves matters of the heart or trying to sit down and have a conversation with a loved one or somebody that's of an important nature or sort of getting your message across to a boss or even at a medical appointment, make sure that you're very clear and very concise with the facts. Don't embellish it. It's not the time to make the story sound absolutely fantastic. It's the time to give the definite, raw, hard facts of the situation and try and be very clear and concise with it, but also sprinkle a little bit of love and kindness and gentleness there along the way as well. Don't be sort of coming in like the bull in the china shop and being too hard about anything, particularly if it's a tricky matter, if it's a matter of the heart or something connected with family or friends. Try that gentler approach, even though you can still be direct and be honest about what you want to say. You can sort of say it in a way that is more appetizing, that's more appealing to them, that's not going to get them upset and not listening, that shut their listening ears down because you've upset them or hurt them or got them defensive to begin with. Now, I said Mercury is also holding hands or conjunct Pluto, the planet of transformation. Now, Pluto's been sitting in Capricorn since 2008, so he's been there a very, very long time. He'll still be there for another 18 months or so. But when you've got them holding hands with these other two planets, it means that Pluto is trying to make some great inroads in your life. He's trying to help you transform your life. He's trying to help you get to the bottom of issues, to be able to sort of get some resolutions. Let's get some plans in place, some ways that we can move forward. They don't all have to be done in a hurry. They can be some long-range plans, some long-term plans. They can also be something that maybe we've tried to fix or sort out in the past, and each time we've hit a roadblock or we've only got so far with it. Now is the time where maybe we can get some breakthroughs, and this is what Pluto's going to help us do. It's like he's going to come in with like the bulldozer or the snowplow and sort of try and help create a pathway through that we can start to get some resolution. We can start to get things moving more in our lives. Now, obviously, this is going to affect Capricorns more than it is any other sign, followed by Tauruses and Virgos. And fourthly, it's going to be Cancers. But it is sort of at the moment really affecting each and every one of the signs, but it's those 4 signs in particular will feel the full force of this stellium of planets sitting together and sitting there sort of really sort of impacting on things. It's like the sun is sort of sitting by itself, and then we've got the stellium of other planets. So it is a very intense time of the year, but it's also, as I said, a great time of the year to start making some plans, making your New Year's resolutions or whatever. But, New Year's resolutions quite often are things that we dream up on New Year's Eve and forget about them by New Year's Day. But where, more long-range planning or things that we're thinking of trying to implement in our lives, these are things that are a little bit more concrete. We also have Neptune, the planet of creativity, illusion, delusion, still sitting in Pisces, and really enjoying being in that Piscean energy. It's really enabling, I think, a lot more creativity to go on worldwide than what we've seen for a long time. And it's not just because COVID is sort of starting to slow down a little bit that we're starting to see more stage plays and more live concerts and things like that. I think on an overall basis, I think people are starting to look for creative solutions, starting to look for creative new ways of approaching a problem or approaching a situation and looking for, is there another way that I can bring this or implement this change that can be fun, that can be innovative, that can be different, that can maybe be cutting edge, that we're not just going to keep looking and using the same solutions we've done in the past. Let's look for some new ones. So this is where Neptune can really help here. It can help you think outside the box, that can sort of say, okay, I can take a little bit of time to think about it or daydream or, go into the think tank with this and come up with maybe some other solutions that we haven't had the luxury of time to be able to do so in the past. So this is really quite exciting. So we've got Neptune holding hands or conjunct Jupiter, but Jupiter's in another sign. It's just moved into Aries. So it's really interesting that even though they're holding hands, both of these planets are in different signs. So one's in water and one's in fire. So Jupiter's now sort of asking everybody, and particularly Aries, to sort of really, get moving. You've got 12 months now to make hay while the sun shines. Don't waste the opportunities that are there for you at the moment. You have the opportunity to sort of stand out from the crowd, to achieve things that might seem impossible at any other time, because you've got Jupiter, the planet of luck, opportunity and expansion, is in your sign. So Jupiter's sort of allowing things to become bigger or more illuminated than normal, and asking you to sort of dream bigger, think bigger, knock on that door, ask for that raise, sort of start to sort of elaborate on what it is that you want to achieve in your life, and don't take no for an answer. It's like, if you get no the first time, then go back and look at what other situations that you can sort of maybe readdress this or bring this forward. So it's a time of great opportunities for you. Don't waste it. And it's particularly for Aries people and the other fire signs, Leo and Sagittarius, and of course Libra being the 4th sign. But with Jupiter in Aries, I think this gives every one of the star signs an opportunity to sort of say, what do I want to bring in this new year? What is it that I want to achieve for myself, that I can sort of take the liberty of sort of standing out from the crowd, putting my name forward, putting my ideas forward in a positive, dynamic sort of way that people will sit up and take notice. I may not always get a yes, but at least people are aware of what's going on or what I'm working on or what I'm aspiring to. So finally, we're going to talk about 2 other areas of the Aries sector of the zodiac. One is Chiron, which is the planet of the wounded healer. And this is what we bring into this current life that we need to heal or we need to fix. Now, Chiron is also sitting in Aries, but he's conjunct or holding hands, which is what's known as the part of fortune, which is an Arabian part. So again, I'm going to emphasize with Aries people, you have the ability to heal anything that's not well in you at the moment. If you've had a physical illness or you've had an injury or something like that that seems to be taking forever to heal, now is the time to maybe think outside the square. Look at other alternatives. If the things that you've been doing, trying to heal yourself, haven't worked, then maybe you need to find some new solutions. And sometimes the healing is on an emotional level, or being able to let go of something or forgive somebody of something that they've done that you didn't like towards you. Now is the time to be able to do that. Now, with Chiron conjunct or holding hands, the part of fortune, this is not where you're going to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but it's saying to you that you can have everything that you've wanted in your life, or you can have great resolutions if you only heal the things that are broken. If you try and work on the things that no longer suit you, or the things that upset you, or the things that may need attention, that will give you your greatest joy, your greatest part of fortune, because you'll finally feel as if you're back in the driver's seat, you're back in control, your health's, moving in the right direction, whether it's emotionally or physically, and you'll start to be able to open yourself up to new opportunities. So that's where we're going to leave the astrology section this week. We're going to talk with Shantae in Dallas in Texas. Are you there, Shantae?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
Yes, I guess I was just on in general, my love life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we can look at that for you, Shantae. Okay, the first thing I'm picking up is a number of endings, changes and transformations. So have you been working very consciously in your life to sort of bring about closure and sort of tidy things up since about August? It's sort of showing me that this last 4 months of this year, you've been really actively sort of saying, no, I've got to get that finished, that completed, get ready for this, get ready for that. It's sort of like, I'm not saying that you haven't focused on things. I think you've been able to multitask and try and, close a couple of these things off, by doing 2 or 3 things at once, but you're in control of it. And I think that's the most important thing, Shantae, is that you really have worked consciously to try and tidy up the loose ends. And at the same time, you now know what it is you want in your life moving forward. Yes, you'd like a new relationship, but you don't just want any old relationship. You want somebody that's going to come into your life that brings something to your life that you either can't provide for yourself or is at least your equal. And that's, I think, the major part that's changed here, Shantae, is before you looked at people and it was like you could see great potential in people, but it was always potential of how you could fix them or how you could help them. You're not looking at that now. You want somebody that's your equal. And I think that's the change. There will be new love. I don't know that it's going to be much before end of February, early March, but I do see a tall, dark-headed man coming into your life then. He's got a beautiful smile. He's very high energy sort of person, and you need somebody that's high energy. You don't need somebody that wants to sit down on the couch all the time. You like a man that can think for himself and can look after himself, but at the same time you want him dedicated and devoted to you too. And that's what I think this man will fit this bill. I think there's going to be a really long-term, fast-moving relationship coming, and he's gorgeous. You're going to have a really lovely time. He's got the most illuminating smile.
Okay.
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 Wonderful. Lovely to talk with you, Shantae. I also feel that there's going to be an improvement in finances for you in 2023 too, and that's more your good methods of budgeting and things like that, not necessarily more money coming in, but you seem to be back in the driver's seat with that as well. So that's where we're going to leave, Shantae. We're going to talk with Emma in Morristown in Tennessee. Are you there, Emma?
Yes.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, Emma?
I was just wondering, I guess, about my relationship.
Okay. All right. So the relationship that you're in at the moment, would it be fair to say that it's been through a bit of an up and down patch over the last 6 to 8 months? It's sort of like it hasn't been what I'd call calm.
Correct.
Yeah, and look, I'm not saying the relationship's bad, Emma. I'm just saying I think it's one of those times where you thought that the up and downness of the relationship wouldn't have been as long, like we thought we'd get one situation resolved and we think we've got that calmed down and sorted through, and then all of a sudden it'd pop up again and it'd be like, well, hang on a minute, I thought we resolved that, and sort of here we are backtracking again. Look, I'm going to say I think we're almost at the end of these situations that have kept popping up that you've had to sort of keep dealing with. I think as we move into 2023, and particularly by the time we get to around second, third week in March, I think you're going to feel a lot more comfortable that you can see, finally sort of feel as if this relationship's got traction, it's got legs, it could go the distance, where, 2 weeks ago you were even questioning whether or not this was right, because every time you started to get it calmed down and on the right path, something else would flare up. I think it's just been that there's just been so much both of you have had to deal with, and I think it all came to a collision course together at the same time. So it's not necessarily one person's fault or the other. It's just a lot of things all came to the surface together. And in the midst of that, was there sort of some other family dramas or situations as well you both had to deal with?
Yes.
Yeah, because that added to it, like you didn't even have a clear run to just focus on your relationship. It was like both being pulled in 1,000 different directions. Are the two of you living together yet, sweetie? Like sharing a home?
Yes.
Why do I sort of feel as if I want to make changes to that? And I don't mean one person moving out. I mean changes with the living arrangements. Are you looking to buy some new furniture or rearrange the furniture or something? There sort of seems to be change around
that. We're actually married, but I've been thinking about separating and one of us moving out.
Okay. I don't feel that that's going to be the solution here. I just sort of feel if we can hang on till about March, I just think this is going to change. I think that we're going to work through this. I appreciate that that's where you feel everything's heading at the moment, that one of you will move out and that might be the only solution. I just don't feel that's the solution. I just think you've worked too hard to work through these things to sort of give up at the last bit, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's always hard, sweetie, when you've been married and marriages change, they evolve over the years, and not always for the better. And we get busy and caught up in other areas of life that sometimes I think not intentionally, but we lose the art of what brought us together to begin with. Do you know what I mean? Of being each other's best friends and being able to share things, good, bad, and indifferent. Life just gets so busy. I'm not blaming one of you or the other one. I think, you both had an equal share in why the marriage has got to this point. But I think you both also got an equal share in sort of trying to salvage this as well too. I don't think he wants to leave, and I don't think you really want him to leave. It's just that we're at a stalemate at the moment. And I think if we can just maybe take a couple of breaths and just calm down and not make any rash decisions, I truly do think we can get this marriage back on track. And see, the reason why I asked whether you were living together or not, because I could see the two of you back living together. And that was the thing. It was like, well, okay, is that their next step? It was sort of like, even though you might have been sharing the same house, it's like you've been living separate lives. And they were showing me the two people coming back together again, living together and sharing things together again. Now, they wouldn't show me that if the two of you were going to part permanently. So I think you just got to hang in there, Emma. I know you still love him, and I know deep down he still loves you. It's just too many things got in the road. Sometimes life's can make marriages impossible because too many other outside things get in the road that we lose sight of what's important, and that's each other. And, he can be stubborn. I'm not saying he can't be. And I think there's times there that we could quite happily bop him on the head with a saucepan too, when he's not listening and,
right.
Seems like he's not wanting to contribute to the marriage, but that's his way. And I think that's, if you go back to basics, I think you'll sort of see that, well, hang on a minute, he really hasn't changed. It's just my tolerance to that has changed. You know what I mean? You've become more frustrated and he's become more frustrated, but basically the two of you haven't changed. It's like the things that have annoyed you have been like on steroids, where before you'd sort of brush it under that doesn't matter so much, but it's become illuminated. So I really do think the two of you have an opportunity to recapture the magic of what the marriage should be, and not going back to being teenagers. I don't mean that, but a more mature adult marriage where the two of you are sort of so much more understanding of each other, but I think most importantly back to being each other's best friends. So anyway, Emma, that's where we're going to leave it, and I wish you well your future moving forward. So this week I want to leave you with a song that many, many people have covered this song, and there's many different versions, and during COVID I used to put up a different version of this song every day. It seemed like for nearly 12 months. But my favourite version of this song, And it's purely, I want to share this song with you because of what's happened with the snowstorm in the USA and Canada particularly. Our hearts go out to all these people. It's a song called You'll Never Walk Alone. My favourite version is John Farnham, but there's many, many versions. Whichever version you like, put it on your turntable, put it on your Spotify, your YouTube or Apple iTunes, and listen to the words in that song. They're very moving, they're very uplifting, and I think now more than ever we can all be a little bit more compassionate for people that are in less fortunate situations than us. So until next week, enjoy your week. Enjoy what you're going to be doing for New Year's Eve. Many people are going out partying. I live on Party Central, but I'll be staying home. I'm a bit past partying, but whatever you're going to do for New Year's Eve and bring in the new year, make sure you stay safe, look after each other, and Happy New Year. Bye for now.